Welcome to the Be Better podcast with Lee Barrison. True stories from Bakersfield's business owners and entrepreneurs. Lee is a local real estate broker that sold over 1,700 houses in almost 18 years. He is a husband, father, owner, and lead coach of Infinity Real Estate Services. And now it's time for the Be Better podcast.
Hey, what's up, everybody? It's Lee Barrison here with the Be Better podcast here in Bakersfield, California. This is podcast number 6, and I'm really excited about this podcast. So I think that all of you guys that are listening to this podcast are going to really get some good nuggets out of it. And before we get started, I just wanted to thank everybody, first of all, for investing your time and subscribing and listening to our podcast. You know, our intent behind this podcast is not to raise money or to make money, but it's to pour value into the people that are either entrepreneurs in the Bakersfield area or the Kern County area. This podcast is designed for anybody who owns a local business, and basically it's our intention with this podcast to really, spit some fire and bring some local knowledge to the community. And like I said, I just wanted to thank everybody who's subscribed to the podcast. I wanted to thank everybody who's taken the time to listen. Do me a favor, guys, and please, being that we're providing you this value, all I'm asking in return is for you to give us a 5-star rating, to give us a review, and maybe even post something on there so we know you're live, all right? So with that being said, again, like I mentioned, I'm really excited about this podcast because I have a really dear friend of mine who I've had the privilege of really getting to know better. She is not only a huge entrepreneur, but she has a great story behind her growth in business. And so with no further ado, I would like to introduce the one and the only Mari Davalos.
Thank you, Lee.
Thank you for coming. And I appreciate. First off, I want to tell you that I'm very privileged to be a friend of yours, and it's really interesting to see what you've done in your business and in your life. But more importantly, I think before this podcast started, guys, we talked about that we also want to bring, we want to impact the female entrepreneurs out there, especially if they're immigrants, okay? Because Maria is, she wasn't born and raised in Southern California, guys. She wasn't, a trust fund baby. She didn't, I guess, just wake up and start rocking it. She had to work it, right?
That's true. That's correct.
Yeah. So first off, tell everybody out there, Mari, where you're from, where you're raised.
Well, I was born in Mexico, San Juan de los Lagos, which is a small village in Jalisco State, close to Guadalajara. And I'm being kind of like back and forward. My parents brought me when I was little, 3 months old. Yeah. And we live in Chicago, but then they decide to go back to Mexico, and my first, from 6 years to 10 years, I was in Mexico. And then my dad decided to come back to California, and I came back. So it was like kind of like back and forward. But I'm blessed because I learned both of the cultures. And I mean, God knows why he put us, or he allow us to be in certain places at certain times. So I'm blessed to say that I come straight from Mexico, and
Viva la Mexico.
And that I learned both cultures.
Beautiful. Okay, so we're born in Jalisco, which is a state next to my wife, she's from Zacatecas. And then you moved to Chicago when you're 6 months old.
3 months old.
3 months, I apologize. 3 months old. And then you went back to Mexico between the ages of 6 and 10.
Yes,
Got
correct.
It. Okay, good. And then when did you come back to America?
When I was 17 years old. Okay. And I finished my high school in Mexico. Then I kind of finished high school here in the United States because they didn't validate the high school in Mexico. And I went to college, and I had to learn English again because when I came back from Mexico, I could understand, but my accent, I couldn't speak, not even one word.
Right, yeah.
Somehow I forgot how to speak English, or I don't know.
Well, it's kind of hard because you were back in Mexico, so therefore there's just nobody to speak English to, so therefore you lose your language, right?
Yes, correct.
So then you came back at 17, and after 17, you obviously had to graduate from high school here. Where did you graduate in? Was it Chicago or here in California?
In California.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
So when you came back to America your last time when you turned 17, instead of going to Chicago, your dad brought you to
Watsonville.
Okay, so Watsonville is up north.
Well, yes.
Okay.
No, I mean northwest.
Northwest, yeah. So you moved to Watsonville, the big town of Watsonville.
Yes.
And then what happened after you graduated high school? What happened? Tell us about your story.
We moved to Petaluma. I got married.
Okay.
And then we moved to Petaluma, and I finished my college, my accounting degree in Santa Rosa, California.
Okay, so then you got married, moved to Petaluma, got married, finished your college degree, and then you decided to get into residential real estate, right?
Correct. I was only like 20 years old, 21, when we came to visit a family member here in Bakersfield. And I was so curious about the real estate because at that time, you could have purchased a house with $40,000, $50,000. And so I was like, no, this is what I wanted to do. I came back and started purchasing. My first investment was a duplex. I think I was 21 years old when I first bought my first investment, and it was here in Bakersfield.
Wow, that's very young.
Yes.
Okay, so we bought our first investment. And then how did you wind up in Bakersfield, if you don't mind me asking?
Well, we decided to move when my first son was born because we had a few properties, so we wanted to take care of the properties here in Bakersfield, and we decided to move.
Okay, so how many properties did you guys own?
Well, at that time, we probably had like 6 properties.
Wow, by the age of?
25.
Jeez. Okay, so by the age of 25, you own 6 residential properties here in Bakersfield.
Yes.
You moved here with your son.
Yes.
And you've obviously never left.
No.
You basically, this is home now to you.
This is my home.
Muddy, right? So, okay, good. So we got that out of the way. So you are an investor in real estate. You know how to be an investor, right? Now tell me this: what in the world is TAXMA?
Well, I decided to open TAXMA in 2006. My background before I moved to Bakersfield, I was doing income taxes. So I started doing income taxes since 1997. And in 2006, I decided to open my own business. And people.
Where do you work? Like at H&R Block or something? Or?
I used to work with H&R Block,
Okay.
but I started with a bookkeeper in Santa Rosa,
Got it.
California.
Okay.
Yeah, and then prior to that, I worked with H&R Block.
Okay. So then you did taxes, but then where did TAXMA come from?
1:00 in the morning. I was with my babies, my 3 boys, and in my living room, and a whiteboard, coming up with some ideas, names, and somehow I was just putting like TAX and then MA, notary, different. I was going through the eliminatory process.
Yeah. Okay.
And TAXMA, I just felt it. I was like, I like TAXMA. So I run into my laptop. I make sure that nobody had that name before. I purchased the domain. I went and
got the DBA right away.
DBA, and I incorporated because I didn't want nobody. And then I did the trademark.
So this is like my baby, and I'm claiming it.
So TAXMA is mine. It's my little girl. I don't
Yeah.
have girls. I have boys.
I love it. Boy, okay. So then we at 1:00 in the morning. You're fumbling through on your whiteboard, like you said, and then TAXMA was the name that it was given to your tax company.
Yes.
You immediately got it all DBA'd up, incorporated, and trademarked.
Yes.
Jeez Louise. Okay, so then with that being said, then you started branching out, right? You opened up TAXMA, but then what happened? You started branching out to other places, right?
Correct. I I started in Las Vegas, and I stopped for a little bit because I was focusing on other projects, but now I'm coming back with the same project.
Sure.
And I'm blessed to say that we're opening an office in Los Angeles, Las Vegas, and a few in Kern County.
Good for you. Okay. But these aren't franchises. These are independently owned or
It's not franchise. It's more like a partnership.
Okay.
So
Okay, good.
similar to franchise, but it's not franchise. It's a partnership.
Okay, good.
Yes.
So we're opening up in Los Angeles. We've got one in Bakersfield, but we're planning on opening up a few more.
Correct.
Las Vegas is on the map.
Yes.
Right. So what's the big picture look like, Mari? I mean, like, you know.
Well, my company has a vision and a mission, same like yours.
Sure.
Before we continue, I want to congratulate you for what you're doing, especially for this show, because reaching out to people, that's our mission. I mean, our mission is to transmit the positive to every single one.
What could actually happen, right?
Yes, because we surround with so much negativity. At the end, we believe we don't see the light, but there's a light. There's always a light. Believe me, we all go through challenges, and what you're doing, it's beautiful. So I want to congratulate you for that.
I really appreciate that.
Okay.
Thank you so much. I really do. Thank you, Mari. You just made my day. So with that being said, you know, you have a big vision, right? And,
Yes.
and I know you're a believer in energy. You're a big believer in Christ. You've got some things that are happening in your life that are just kind of like transmitting. I don't know what you call it, like kind of crazy, right?
I don't know. When you're in God's hands, everything is possible. People can call it crazy. It's okay. My only judge is going to be God, and that's who I should take care of, who I should care, not. We all have an opinion.
Who cares what anybody else thinks, right?
As long as you do the things the right way. And again, going back to your question, I believe in TAXMA because I believe that we can reach out to so many people and helping them with their services, or people who wants to own a business and they don't know how. Well, they can just give us a call and we can help them to open an income tax office.
Love it. So
Okay.
guys, let's stop right there for a minute. Then we're going to switch gears. But basically, at the end of the show, we'll go ahead and get Mari's contact information in case you guys do or are interested in opening up a tax consulting company, or I mean maybe even become a partner of TAXMA, right?
Correct.
So with that being said, Mari, every single person that I've ever met, whether they're in real estate and they're killing it, whether they're a multi-entrepreneur, okay, or whether they're just a business owner, nothing comes easy. It's never just an easy 1, 2, 3 punch, boom, now I'm at the top, right?
Correct.
And a lot of entrepreneurs that I know of didn't start at the top, right? They actually started more towards the bottom. I know I did. I didn't grow up in the greatest neighborhood. I was surrounded by a lot of bad people, a lot of people that were negative, and there's drugs involved, and so on and so forth. And I had to dig myself out of that hole, right? I mean, there was nobody else there to help me, and I'm assuming that there was not a whole lot of people out there that are willing to help you or raise you to the top. TAXMA and who Mari Davalos is today was self-built. Am I correct?
Correct.
Okay.
I started by myself. Nobody helped me. I remember just doing my own researches. Obviously, you're not going to call the competition because nobody wants to help you.
Girl, get out of the business.
Yeah, so I just did it by myself, and I didn't start it with money. I mean, because by that time I was already divorced.
You were divorced and kind of broke.
And it was a different story, but I thank God for those experiences because that's what made me stronger, and we should learn from everything in life, even the bad situations that we think it's bad situation, but that's where we get the most knowledge that we can get from.
Mari, stop right there. I love what you're saying because what you are really striking a chord with me right now, okay? Because I got to tell you that if you don't have anything bad going on in your life, or if you don't have any battles, I guess is the better way of putting it, that you're facing, or if there's no challenges in your life, then basically there's no lessons being learned, and there's no growth without lessons. So basically you're just a sitting duck in business, right?
Well, we have to learn from everything.
Yeah, and now I can tell you that I've learned most of my career, I've learned from my mistakes, right? And failure to me is something that I embrace, especially with my agents. Like, I want them to go fail so much to where, because once you fail once, you're not going to do that again.
Correct.
Right? Or it's not going to be as bad. But I condone failure, and you know, there's a lot of people out there that actually run from failure or would prefer to stand still and stay away from it. So tell us about some failures in Marie's life. In business.
I mean, a lot.
Yeah.
I have a lot of challenges.
Yeah.
And especially when you're barely starting, right? You don't know everything. So you run through challenges and then you learn, and you don't do the same mistake again.
Right. Right. Well, and so, like, give us just one example, if you could. When you first started, if you can think back to TAXMA, how many years ago?
Since 2006.
Okay, good. So we're only talking about 12 years ago, and you're still young, so you still have a memory. And so just, you know, think back to 2006, 2007. One little lesson that you learned that, man, I sure am glad it happened, but I'm sure I'm glad it's over.
Well, hiring.
Oh, okay.
It's a huge thing for me, and it was a huge thing because when you're barely starting, you don't know how to teach or how to be. You know how to do what you know how to do, but
Sure.
you don't know how to lead. You're not a leader,
Right.
I mean, or if you are, you don't know
Well, you're not a leader yet.
You're
yeah.
learning based on an experience.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna say the hiring was my biggest challenge. I didn't know how to hire. I thought, okay, they have a certificate, they have the experience, boom, I can hire you. And then later on, you learn that you have to have the chemistry. They have to have the same values. They have to fit into what you offering to the public.
I love it.
So that's a huge thing right now for me, is to, when I bring people to my company, they have to understand the values, they have to understand the missions and the visions, and that we're here to serve the community. We're not here, we need the money and we're working for money, but we're not here to
serve ourselves.
Yes,
Yeah.
we're serving the public. So they come first.
I love it. So basically the hiring process was one of the biggest lessons that you learn, right?
Yes.
And I've had that issue too, where, you know, you're newer in the business and basically, you know, hey, she looks like she could work, you know, and she has a pulse. Okay, good. She knows how to speak English. She has 2 legs and so on and so forth. You're hired,
Yes.
right? But then all of a sudden, you know, she doesn't, or he doesn't fit the culture. All of a sudden they're not the right fit, and then all of a sudden you're thinking, how the heck do I get this person out of my building?
Yes.
Right? Okay,
And then
good.
you can't. You get stuck.
Yeah.
Because there's so many laws that protect,
Employment,
that
yeah.
you're like, okay.
Yeah.
So
Great. Thank you for sharing that. That's a very valid point. So let's move on. Okay. Now, so we got the real estate investment down. We've got TAXMA down. We're building partnerships across the western coast.
Correct.
Vegas, Los Angeles, Bakersfield. In 5 or 10 years, if I was a gambling man, I would assume Fresno. I would assume Sacramento. I would assume
coming soon.
You know, yeah. But again, we're really doing something special with TAXMA. Wouldn't you agree?
Yes.
Good.
Yes.
Now,
That's my baby.
let's switch gears again. You're a real estate broker.
I am a real estate broker.
Okay.
Well, and that became by default.
Okay. Tell us more about that.
I used to help my clients doing their income taxes, and I saw the value of helping them or guiding them how to invest their money so they can grow with their financials. And I used to refer all my clients just to different real estate agents. And then they will come back and with bad stories.
Oh, okay.
So I was like, okay, how can I help my client?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I'm going to go get my real estate license. So after tax season, I can help them. And I did it to be able to help them.
Yeah.
At the beginning, I was not going to do it to go and show properties because I didn't like that.
But
I used to hate
you
showing
didn't
properties.
like the horror stories when they come back, though, right? And tell
Yes.
you, oh my God, Mari, what are you doing sending me to this person?
Yes, but then I got my real estate license, and I was able to help a lot of clients to not only become first-time home buyers, but to invest their money into real estate. And I have the privilege to say that I have a couple clients that they used to work in the fields, and some of them, they're still working in the fields, and now they own like 10 properties, 7. I have one client that owns 17 properties.
Jeez Louise. Oh.
Because on the 2008 crash, when America was
They
in
took
clearance,
advantage of that?
they took advantage. They they did everything I told them to do, and now they're
Beautiful.
They still work at the fields because they love the fields, but they don't have to anymore.
Jeez, man.
So
That's crazy.
I was able to guide them and help them, and that's why I became a real estate.
That's an amazing story. I mean, so basically, you did it because in the real estate industry, there's some horror stories, and not everybody is ethical, not everybody does the right thing, and so you took it upon yourself not only to serve these people with taxes, right, to become a trustworthy servant of doing their taxes. But yet you also took it upon yourself to get a real estate broker license and say, you know what, let's just go. Come on. I got your taxes. There's your check. Now let's get in the car and go find a house.
Correct.
Okay.
Well, people were so patient with me because they wanted to work with me. I hire real estate agents, but they didn't want to go with their real estate agents. They wanted me to help them. So they had to wait for me. Some of my clients, they waited for like a couple months for me to go show them
to
property.
get out of tax season. Okay.
Yes.
All right. Well, listen, we're going to wrap it up here, guys. But before we wrap it up, I just really wanted to bring Mari Davalos in here. Why don't you tell everybody out there how to get a hold of you if they need taxes, if they need a real estate agent, if they need residential investment advice?
Well, my information, my phone number is 661-340-8283, or my office number 661-310-1200.
Okay, perfect. And then also, what about email and Facebook? How do they get a hold of you on those?
Facebook, it's TAXMA. They
Okay.
can get a hold of me. They can look for the...
There's only one TAXMA?
There's only one TAXMA.
Okay, thank God for Jesus. Okay.
Well, no, never mind. There's going to be a couple more. But I think my phone number is better. My email is marydavalos@taxma.com and or www.taxma.com. And
Perfect.
There's a place where they can chat, and it comes straight to my email.
Okay, perfect, guys. So rewind if you guys need her contact information after this podcast is over. But again, this goes out to all the ladies out there and the men out there. But more importantly, ladies, you guys have there's a lot out there for you to go out there and crush it. And let's face it, it's 2018. And we might have a female president next time around. Who knows? So, I mean, with that being said, guys, I want to thank Mari Davalos for joining us. Thank you again for logging on, listening to this podcast. I certainly hope that it struck a chord with somebody out there that either owns a business, is thinking about getting into taxes, is thinking about something. With that being said, well, take care and have a great day.